It's Jill for today. It is. And we're making bread today. It's another, oh, listen to him. He's got it. Director's behind the camera. He's directing today, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
All right. So we're making a no knead. Remember, we did no knead a couple of weeks ago. This is a whole wheat, rosemary, and hazelnut bread. So it's kind of a savory bread, which probably would be delicious, you know, dipped in a little balsamic vinegar and olive oil. But what's so neat is I found this. I was going through old files the other day, and I found this. You see how brown it is. I clipped this out of a local newspaper, I don't know how many years ago. And it's for no knead walnut rosemary bread. But guess what? I have to do the Jill for today spin on it. So that's what I've done. And I'm using hazelnuts today instead of walnuts, which of course you could use any nut you like.
But we're in the hazelnut capital of the world.
Yeah, so we used hazelnuts. And and I changed out the ingredients just a little bit, tweaked them. So we're going to get started, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to proof our yeast to make sure it's alive and ready to play. So in the bowl here, I'm going to put some water, and then I'm going to sprinkle the yeast over it. And of course, I'll have all the measurements in the comment section. There goes the yeast, and then I add, make sure this is sugar, yeah, not salt. Then I add a little sugar to it, because that really does help give the yeast some food to get started on. So I'm gonna get this all mixed up and make sure it is well combined. We don't want the sugar, we want that well dissolved, as well as we want the yeast dissolved. And this is feeling very good. I don't feel any grit on the bottom of the bowl. So I believe we are good to go here. So I'm going to allow this to sit for probably 5 to 10 minutes, and we should see little bubbles forming on top. And once that happens, we will be back. Okay, see how this is like bubbling up here? It's not really dramatic because there's not all that much yeast in there, but you can see that it's alive and it's ready to start adding to. So I'm going to go ahead and add some whole wheat flour. It'll be 2 cups, that's 1/2. That's 1/2, and 2. And I have a wheat mill, and I ground my flour this morning, and it really does make a big difference. The flavor, it's not rancid. And then we're putting in 2 cups of bread flour, and bread flour is great. That's 2. I don't lose my count here. And of course, it's got a lot more gluten in it, which makes your bread rise better. So there's our 4 cups of flours. Got a little bit of salt here. A tablespoon of oil. Good olive oil. And then we've got some chopped hazelnuts and some fresh rosemary that's been chopped. And I'm going to go ahead and start working this all together. This bowl, a nice little sideline here, this is my mother's bowl, and it's got to be at least 60 years old. And as a young child, I can remember everything went into this bowl. Donuts, meatloaf, dressing, salads, cake mixes. This was the bowl. And when Mom passed away, it's funny how things are that you say, well, what do you really want in the house? You know, what's of value or that sort of thing. And you know, there was so few, but I really wanted the bowl. And I cherish it and I use it because, you know, if you set it aside and you don't use the good things that you love, well, you just can't enjoy them if they're sitting on a shelf, right? Okay, as you can see, as I've been jabbering away, this is coming together just really, really nicely. I'm going to toss it a little bit here to make sure that those nuts and rosemary are all combined. And I'm going to give my bowl here just a little bit of a scrape. Okay. But really, as you can see, this looks really, really good. I'm very excited to try this recipe. I had wanted to add sun-dried tomatoes to this, you know, just the dehydrated ones, not in olive oil. And I got some Well, I got some, distress over it. Hey, the director says, no, I don't think I want that. Okay, I think those nuts and rosemary, I wouldn't have stirred it all this much, but I wanted to make sure they were in there pretty well. So this is it for now, and this is going to go into my oven with the oven light because it's cold here today and I want to make sure it is in a nice warm environment. So I've got my oven light on, not the heat, just the light, and I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap. I'm going to stick it in the oven, and it should be, an hour and 15 minutes. We want to see it double in size, and once that happens, I'll bring it back. Okay, we're back, and it took about an hour and a half, and I've got the dough right here. It's beautiful. It's doubled in size, as you can see. It looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just lightly spray my bread pan here. Okay, and then I'm just going to take again my little spatula here and just start deflating this, folding it over on itself, scraping off from the sides and into the center. So it's like folding when you fold egg whites, same kind of technique. You're just folding over, just like that. And really, guess what, folks? That is it. Okay. And we are ready to put it into the bread pan here. I'll just plop it in there. Okay, looks really good. I'm real excited about this one. I always love new recipes. This actually looks like it could almost fit into 2 pans. There's a lot of dough here. It called for a one pan, so we're gonna see how that goes. And this is the largest pan I have. Okay, this actually is, I'll tell you what the size is. This is 9.25 by 5, so it's 9 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. So I'm gonna put the plastic back on this just lightly because it's gonna rise, and I don't want it to rise really much more than just almost level, a little bit higher than the pan. And I'm gonna go ahead and start my oven to 450 degrees. This is a hot bake, and give it about 30 minutes maybe, and I'll bring you back so you can see what it looks like before I put it in the oven. So we'll be back. Okay, the oven's heated to 400. I was incorrect when I told you 450, I think. It's 400 degrees. My bread is on second rising. See, it's just crusting the rim. See there? So it's going into the oven, and we're going to give it 40 minutes. So here we go, folks. I can't wait. I'm so excited about this loaf of bread. All right, and it goes. I'm going to put it in sideways, and there we go. Midway in the oven, middle rack, 400 degrees. 40 minutes, and I know somebody who's going to want to taste that bread.
Is there a breadaholic in the house?
There is. All right, we'll be back. There's the bread taster.
Hey.
There's the bread taster. It's done. It's a beautiful loaf. I'm going to bring you down and show it to you. Look at this. Look at this. Isn't this just beautiful? All sides, and actually it's got such a wonderful little, oh, thanks for bringing that in. Okay, so we're going to give this a cut and see how it is. Got it? Go ahead. Okay. All right. It smells so well, it smells like rosemary. It smells so rosemary-y. All right. I'm gonna cut this in half. All right, there's your piece.
Bring that up.
All right. Whoop. Is that right? Are we good?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe just a little more.
He is the director. Oh, are we down? Yeah, there we go.
Better?
Okay. All right. Are you ready? Oh, it smells so good.
Here's the consistency of it.
All right. I'll tell you what happened. What do you think of that, first of all?
It's good. Mm-hmm. Very good.
I don't think there's enough rosemary. And I'll tell you what I did. It called for 2 tablespoons, and I said, oh, no, too much. So I put only 1 tablespoon in it.
Put those hazelnuts in.
Aren't those good?
Wow.
That's what I did. And
Yeah,
I
that's
now
good.
know that 2 tablespoons is quite right.
But just by tasting this, I can tell this would make a great base for rye bread as well. I can just taste as if there was rye in that.
Well, the texture is wonderful.
Well, it's going to take me about 35 minutes to get through this loaf, so
And
I better get busy.
I think it would be delicious little dip thing happening with it.
Dip.
Like with balsamic and olive oil. I know you want butter on it.
Tzatziki.
Oh, tzatziki would be fabulous. All right, well, I think this is a big hit. Big hit.
It is.
And I'm glad I tried a new recipe. And it's a keeper. I
yeah.
screwed up. It's my
No,
fault that we didn't
I
have
don't
enough
think so. I
rosemary
think it's
flavor in
excellent.
there. You know the other thing too? God, it smells so good. I think, I'm gonna bring that up because you can see that texture there. Isn't that just beautiful? I think that as this sits, that rosemary is gonna permeate that bread more.
It's got a wonderful crust on it.
It does,
too.
it's excellent. All right, I will put the ingredients in the box and I will add the 2 tablespoons of rosemary because don't you agree?
Yeah.
I think it really does need it. But
It's
it's
delicious, just like it
Oh
is.
my gosh. If you took out the rosemary and the nuts, it's a fabulous whole wheat loaf.
Well, why would you want to do that?
Well, I don't know, maybe some people don't like rosemary or hazelnuts.
Or hazelnuts.
Yeah.
How could you not like hazelnuts?
Okay, we're done here. Are we
All
done
right,
here?
yes,
So we're gonna-
yes.
Okay, thanks for viewing. Tell your friends, subscribe, thumbs up, you know.
Eat lots of bread.
And comments. We love comments.
Because bread is the staff of
It is
life.
the staff of life. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.